What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jersey Boy, and we're back at it again. And we officially take our first L of the season. To make matters worse, it comes against our division rivals, the Patriots, as well. We did try to keep it a pretty good game, so before we even dive into any of the other stuff, I want to go ahead and check out the box score and show you guys kind of what happened. So the Patriots pretty much led the way the entire game. We tried to make a solid comeback attempt, but couldn't do much. As normal, our trend has been we just can't really perform enough offensively because we don't really have any firepower. We have Le'Veon Bell, but we don't really have an offensive line. We have decent enough pass catchers, no stars, no number one type receivers, a bunch of complementary pieces. So, with that said, we go for 144 yards. We take a lot of sacks. We don't do anything noticeable for interceptions or touchdowns. And then Brady puts up 187 and 1 on us. In the running game, we only get 56 yards. He also ends up fumbling. We do keep James White down to only 50 yards on 20 carries. Sonny Mitchell as well doesn't do too much with 18 yards on 5 carries. And then Montgomery doesn't really find any space either, but he does pick up a touchdown for us. In the receiving game, 46 yards from Enunwa. We get 35 from Herndon. He does put up 5 catches, though. Eli Rogers not having a great game either. And then you can see Brady just really spread the ball around on us. And then on the defensive side, so our top 3 players for tackles, CJ Mosley, we have Marcus May, and we have Jenkins rounding out the pool. Now, a little concerning that I don't really see Adams having a standout game, which doesn't bode well for his development trait that he potentially would have got. Leonard Williams gets in the backfield. The rookie Polite has a decent performance this go around. Mosley, Jenkins, and Shepard. We only got 1 sack on the game, which comes from Jenkins, no interceptions. Let's see if we had any fumbles. We get 2 from Mosley. Okay, so him taking over the role of Jamal Adams for this game and tossing people left and right. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out some of these storylines we have here. So that's not the game I wanted to have, Coach. Elite defenders impact the game. They intercept passes, force fumbles, sack the quarterback. I didn't do enough of that today, so what does that say about me? Don't be too hard on yourself, Jamal Adams. You're the core and the soul of our defense, essentially. I'm sure you will have a bounce back performance next game. And then our defensive coordinator, Coach, my defense did the best it could against Brady. The guy is so dynamic, he's almost impossible to stop. I just can't believe we lost. I thought our game plan was solid as we did a pretty good job at shutting down the pass. Usually against a team with Brady at the helm, those things equate to a victory. Well, we couldn't pull it out, but we've had a really strong run of games to the season with our defense leading the way. That's not always going to be the case. Stuff is going to break down, and our offense is not equipped to really help us support that. So we'll, of course, during the offseason be looking to make amends for a lot of those things. And it's good news that next week puts us at about the midpoint because we can start taking a look at some of these contracts that we might want to go ahead and re-sign and reinvest in some of those players. And then basically we have another stretch of games since we had our early bye week for this season. So we've had good luck in the injury department. We haven't had to worry about anybody other than our backup free safety, Doug Middleton, being out, which luckily that was only for 4 weeks. So I believe we have about 2 weeks left with him. Let's start off with some scouting and check out what else we still have at this receiver position. And then we'll take a look at some of these other players that we will be facing for our next opponent. All right, tight ends. Let's do a little bit more scouting, but start off on the linebacking core. And then jump back in here and clean up this. Okay, so let's just take an overall kind of sneak peek at what we've been at. So we've researched basically the running back position, the receivers. We've just taken a look at the tight ends and pretty much the entire offensive line, with that being my primary focus. heading into the off season. So we'll kind of go over our list of what we'll be looking to tackle once we get closer to the end season. But we have some pretty intriguing backs here. Generally, skill wise, I definitely look for elusiveness since we have that as our archetype for the position. And then I really look for ball carrying vision if possible, or a very strong trait like juke move or something to that effect. So Shaq Woody looks really good to me. Of course, the combine's going to play a huge role into things like this as well. Joey Burks looks good. You could say technically the same thing about Jaden Lawson. He's interesting because he has break tackles, one of his stronger skills, instead of elusiveness. And then Nathan Judge looks like he could be good, but uh, from what I understand and kind of what I've been seeing, that true talent factors in pretty heavily into what their overall actually ends up being. So he might still be a really good player, but it's definitely best to go ahead and stick to that rating there and wait on someone like him. Whereas somebody like this pops up. So a power back, great break tackling. He's strong with his carrying vision, and he can stiff arm people. So we'll be putting our big board together by week 17. So that'll probably be a longer video for us. And then in our receiving department, LaShawn Bolden stands out. So with our scheme, we're looking at more physical people rather than route runners or anything else. His catching traffic is phenomenal, and he can release off the line. So this would be a perfect candidate for somebody we might want to target. Now, we only have one first round draft pick, as you can see, but we stockpiled in other areas. So we have two twos, two threes. I don't mind necessarily sacrificing a lot of those early to mid round picks if we're going to target three or four, really good players that we believe are going to come in and have a really strong impact for us. So that's something to be aware of. Tyrell Robinson also is very intriguing, where he has some stats that are pretty much swapped. His best trait is being able to release off the line instead, and then his spectacular catch is better than his catch in traffic. So it's going to be kind of a matter of, pick your flavor, pick your poison in this case, and then right below that, you see there's a huge drop off in general talent between the late and second rounds there. Tight end department shaping up to be pretty good. So we might be able to find either a very good starter or a good running mate for Herndon there. And that'll open up some two tight end pass sets for us. And maybe even some running, depending on if we can find somebody with some decent blocking, such as Jaden Rush here. So it's really going to come down to maybe what that other final trait of his is, if that's like a good short route running capability or something like that. The offensive line had a gluttony of talent at certain positions, and then others, it seems like we'll find some solid players, but they're not going to be standouts. So on the left side of the line, Gabe Robertson stands out as somebody that could potentially be a great day one contributor for us, or at least somebody that potentially develops over the season into that. What I'm looking for here is pass block. I feel like that's the true capability of how good they're going to be at pass blocking, and then the pass block finesse or power is where you see the technical aspect come in. So I don't mind having lower technical capabilities if they have the strong pass or run block. On the inside, I'm going to look for run capability or anybody that has strong impact block. So Stephon Cousins here is definitely somebody that has caught my eye. Potentially Quinn Brackens over Daquan McCoy, only because I don't really see much other than his technical aspect there. The center position, though, Jack Barker is looking like the guy that I want. Even if we don't pick him up as our center, he can definitely be moved over to guard at one of those positions and hopefully provide us something excellent. Potentially, maybe even tackle. Although I like them to be a little bit larger, closer to 6'4" or 6'5", but he has very great skills to work with. The right side of the line is where things come into trouble. So we don't have anybody that's even worthy of the first three picks at tackle. And then at right guard, you can see there's a trend where it looks like those players are going to be falling into the later rounds, which is good news because we do have a lot of 6th and 7th round picks. So if they start falling to the 5th, maybe the end of the 4th round, where it looks like we'll potentially be picking, then we can start looking at making a move for one of those. We don't really have anything else scouted. We did see our first skill trade of the linebacking position. We'll start focusing on those next week. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the Jaguars and the trouble we will be facing with this vaunted defense here. So we have Nick Foles leading the way for them, and of course Gardner Minshew the second ended up coming in during the season and actually outperforming where he was drafted at, which I believe was in the fifth or sixth round for him. Nick Foles, though, has been a system quarterback, if anything. Seems like the better familiarity he has with the people around him, the better he does when he doesn't have that pressure. He likes to come in as the backup quarterback and kind of lead his team to the promised lands. They have Leonard Fournette, though, the hard running stud that came out of LSU, where you have to deal with Alfred Blue and a young Raquel Armstead here in the receiving core. Marquise Lee, D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole. So they definitely have a young receiving core here, but they do have the potential to do some damage. James O'Shaughnessy and Jeff Swime there. On the line, Cam Robinson, who's probably underperformed to this point with where he was drafted. Andrew Norwell, one of the better guards in the league. Brandon Linder, excellent center. AJ Cann, Jawan Taylor. And then the defense is where they have an embarrassment of riches. So we have to deal with Clyde Campbell. They have a young Josh Allen right behind him. Yannick Inagwe, and then they have Laurenti McCray, who doesn't really see that much time, but doesn't really need to see that much time with the strong starters and the depth that they have. Marcel Darius, Taven Bryan on the inside, and then they also have Avery Jones, Carl Nassib. We have Leon Jacobs, Miles Jack, Jake Ryan, Telvin Smith there, and then Jalen Ramsey, the shutdown cornerback, probably the best DB since Revis in terms of pure man coverage skills that we've had in quite a while. And then AJ Boye as his tandem run partner, and then they have a young DJ Hayden that they're looking to see if hopefully he can make his mark as the slot cornerback for them. He's not so young anymore, apparently. I didn't realize he's already had 6 years in the league. But with that said, he still does have some pretty decent speed there. Not the best man coverage traits. So we'll see if maybe we can use our bigger tight ends. Or hopefully Jamison Crowder has a good game against him. Cody Davis, and then they have Ronnie Harrison from Alabama to help cover the back end and help step up in the box for them. So we'll be looking to see if we can make our mark and continue our path of winning again, or if the Patriots win against us has started a new issue and caused some underlying problems for us. This might be the point where you see a reversal of fortunes. We've seen plenty of teams start out strong and then they fail down the way of their season. So hopefully this isn't the turning point. But with that said, I'd love for you guys to like, comment, leave any feedback that you have. It'd be definitely greatly appreciated, but I appreciate any of the support that you guys have already. With that said, it's your boy, Jersey Boy. I'm out.